you and your counterpart, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz, decided to extend the full 9.7 million barrels a day for the month of July. Do you think you're going to need to extend it again for August?
Да, решение это принималось 6 июня. На мой взгляд, оно было...
Yes, indeed. As you have rightly mentioned, we have made the decision on the 6th of June to preserve June cuts for the month of July. I think that this was the right decision. We have held a lot of consultations, and we have all arrived at the conclusion that due to immense and volatility, we need to somehow smooth the recovery period and preserve the fragile balance which was starting to form. We discussed it with our colleagues, and we have decided to come up with a compromise decision to extend the cuts for 1 month. As for the future, I would like to remember that during the many years that we have been in this OPEC Plus cooperation, we have always said that we're flexible. We thus need to look and study the market. We need to make sure that the market is balanced, and we need to be confident of how what the pace of demand recovery is. We will thus be basing any future decisions on the balance of supply and demand. And I would also like to note that we have made the decision to regularly monitor the implementation of the deal and the state of the market through regular monthly joint ministerial monitoring meetings. The next one will actually be held tomorrow, where we plan to discuss the levels of conformity, the state of the market, and what basically the future holds for us.
I want to ask about those conformity levels and the JMMC tomorrow. As you mentioned, the data you're seeing thus far, are the laggards, notably the likes of Iraq, which were not supposed to just comply with the new agreement, but also make up for cuts that they failed to comply on? Are you confident that these countries are doing so?
Talking about conformity levels and preliminary numbers, because final ones will only be analyzed tomorrow, I can say that conformity is on a very high level, closer to 90%, and this is very encouraging. But at the same time, there are some laggards, and we will be discussing this tomorrow as well, because I would like to remind that back on the 6th of June, we have decided that all countries, and I underscore that everybody agreed with this, all countries have to reach 100% conformity and compensate the underperformance. I thus hope that all our colleagues once again reiterate their commitment to this and do their part, which can ensure a more stable market.
I know we're only in the middle of June, but what are you seeing for the first few weeks of June? Can you give us some details about how you're complying early on?
Russia takes its obligations very seriously, and one of the indicators that this is the case is our almost immediate decline to close to 100% conformity straight away from the month of May. If you remember before, we have always been reducing production gradually, and it took us quite a lot of time to reach target levels. But now, thanks to the fact that we're in summer month, which makes it a rather simpler task to do, we have been able to achieve this result very quickly. Thus, Russia is committed to its obligations, and we will be taking the full obligations.
Just today, we saw Beijing cancel 2/3 of flights because an uptick of virus cases there. There are pockets in the United States that are seeing these trends as well. Brazil had thousands of cases just in one day, north of 35,000. Where do you see demand right now in the oil market?
You have asked the right question, and I think that this is a very important one. Demand, I would say, is probably the most important factor for the market now. But at the same time, I can say that there are still a lot of uncertainties and a lot of volatility, particularly if we talk about the pace of demand recovery. We have gone through the period when we saw the first green shoots back in April. We have seen good recovery dynamics in May when mobility limitations have started to lift. And now in June, we're seeing very good dynamics, but at the same time, as you've mentioned, there are risks of a second wave emerging, although it is still quite uncertain.